just getting started, right? Look, guys are rested, right? We've had a long weekend. Guys are physically ready to go. Normal Wednesday practice will be in pads. Get good work today. Good work on first and second down stuff against a good opponent. We got to be on point. Again, the theme is going to be same thing. We're just trying to get better. Doesn't matter. In one sense, we know full well who we're playing. In another sense, it's faceless opponent. It's just the next opponent, and we're trying to get better as a football team. We're continuing to try to improve and have our best football be this game coming up on Sunday. It's the only one that matters. Injury status, same on Doyle, Kenny Moore, and Teray. No change on the three of those guys right there. Jack's still in protocol. We'll continue to monitor Kenny's rib injury. And then Kamoko, we expect him to be limited in practice today.
All right, we'll open it up with Joel Erickson.
Frank, how did you come across Bubba Ventrone and find him to hire him a couple years ago?
Actually, it's a good story. Here you are, first-time head coach. One of the most important hires you're going to make. Obviously, the coordinators are the most important hires, but getting the special teams coordinator right, out of the block is a big deal. And the special teams coach in Philadelphia, he and I were very close, Dave Phipp. And when I got this job and I asked him, he was the first person I went to, who would you recommend I put on kind of the short list of guys to talk to? And he had a short list of one, and he said it was Bubba Ventrone. He said, Frank, I'd put all my money on Bubba. And so I remember being in Philadelphia, calling Bubba on the phone and talking to him for about 2 hours on the phone, and was just blown away by this guy. So really, I owe that to Dave Phipp for that recommendation.
Mike Chappell.
Frank, when you face different quarterbacks, upper echelon quarterbacks, they all seem to have their own special qualities or whatever. What's unique about Aaron Rodgers?
Arm strength, can make every throw from every arm angle, and he gets it out faster than anybody I've ever seen. He can give that little flick to the wrist and get that thing out. His feet don't have to be right. He can still, because of his arm strength, he can put the ball anywhere he wants. And then he can extend plays and make big plays, in multiple ways.
Ross, Wish TV.
Hey, Frank, in terms of your D-line, obviously DeForest gets a lot of the recognition, and rightfully so, but there's a lot of depth there with Grover and Taekwon and Justin, and Denico actually leads you guys in sacks. Just how impressed have you been with what they've been able to do as a unit, and are you surprised at all with what they've been able to do?
I'm really not surprised. We have felt that's been a unit of strength on our team. They complement each other well. DeForest, obviously, as you said, gets a lot of recognition, as he should. He's a dominant player, but all of those D linemen will tell you that they play as a unit. They feed off of one another, and how good the guy next to him is playing has a major impact on how effective they can be in their role. So I think Coach Baker does a great job with those guys, and those guys know they set each other up, and they're fully well aware of that. That's a dynamic room to be in. I mean, that's the kind of, I can just tell you from being around those guys on the practice field, in the meeting room, like those guys are for each other. I mean, it's an unselfish room. It's a dynamic room. That's an area of strength for this team.
Kevin Bowen.
Hey, Frank, I've got two. First, do you expect the rib injury for Kenny to force him to miss time?
I'm hoping not, Kevin. We'll see. Those rib injuries, my experience with them is that you think it's okay, and then you actually get in there and start doing something, and it doesn't take much to aggravate it. So, not anticipating Kenny to practice today. So I think he will not practice today, and then we're just going to have to take it day by day after that because of the nature of a rib injury.
And then do you think this is the most complete offense your guys' defense has seen this season?
This is definitely one of the better offenses in the NFL. You have the quarterback, Rodgers. You have one of the truly elite receivers in Devontae Adams, a top-notch running back, and a run game. I think their offense is as great as Rodgers is. They're like any offense. They're most dangerous when they're dual threat, when they have their running game going, and that's what they, when they're really rolling on offense. They run the football. They run the football, and then Rodgers feeds off of that. So this is definitely the best, toughest test for our defense all year.
Mike Chappell.
Like you said, Jack's still in protocol. Will he practice today?
Jack will not practice today.
Joel Erickson.
Frank, when it comes to Danico, what has he meant to the defense, not just this year, but over this 3 years here that he's been with the Colts?
Love Danico, Joel. He has been this quiet, unsung hero. He's been a quiet, unsung hero. Danico doesn't like the attention. He's not trying to draw attention to himself. He just loves ball, loves that D-line group, and is just tough as nails. And he's a very talented player. And, he made that transition from D tackle to D end. We thought it would be a good transition for him. He's making the most of it and being very productive.
Okay, we'll go two more. Stacey Dales.
Hey, Coach, if I may, just a couple of quick questions. Number one, just what's impressed you most about Philip to this stage and his performance, his efficiency? And then number two, because of the quality of offensive line you have, how does it affect your confidence in calling plays?
Yeah. So Stacey, the first question, just as far as what impresses me most about Philip, just his complete command of the game. Even today, we're in meetings today, Nick and I and Marcus and quarterbacks are in there, and, we're going over the game plan, and, we're meeting before kind of the meetings with him, just talking about the plan and his interaction, really input in putting the plan together. The staff has put the plan together, but Philip is involved. He's got complete command. He has great ideas and suggestions. And then as a physically, I never get tired of the elite accuracy. Elite accuracy is something that very few people have. That's very few quarterbacks have elite accuracy. We have one who has elite accuracy. He can make all the throws, and he can put the ball wherever he wants to. And now, obviously, you miss some, but there's not many when you're elite. So physically, that's what impresses me the most. And absolutely, as an offensive line, it starts with, we got the run game going a little bit. We still got to continue to make strides there. And then the pass protection, for us to do what we want to do in the pass game, right now we lead the league in lowest sack percentage. That's everybody, but mostly the offensive line. So, when you're calling the game and you want to mix it up, run and pass, you always got to factor that in, the pass protection element. So the confidence that they give you as a play caller is monumental in calling it.
Awesome. Thank
All right,
you.
last one, Jim Aiello.
Yeah, Frank, I know I asked you about the TV copy. I think Matt Eberflus called them the KGB tapes the other day. That's something that seems to kind of be newer in the NFL, right? You didn't maybe come up with those. I was wondering, do you like kind of having that extra element? Does it add to the chess match week to week?
No, I can tell you, going back to when I was the quarterback coach here, Peyton Manning, it used to drive him crazy. In fact, he would have, because it was Peyton, they would always, from the sidelines, turn up the microphones because they knew Peyton was legendary at the line of scrimmage with what he was doing. So this is when this all started, really. It wasn't just Peyton, but Peyton was at the center of a lot of this. And so everybody was always interested. The media was always interested. The broadcasters were always interested to hear what Peyton Manning's saying at the line of scrimmage. So that media would start to turn up the volume, and the league would turn up the volume on Peyton because it's Peyton Manning. And so we as a staff would try to protect him and our team by calling the league and saying, hey, you got to turn the volume down. It's, you can't do that just because it's Peyton. That's putting us at a disadvantage. And of course, Peyton didn't want all of our code words getting out there. Well, it just grew from there, right? I mean, so that just provided good content. And then they found out, okay, this is great with Peyton, but it was great with everybody, all the other quarterbacks as well. So I think that's just something that fans and media have enjoyed hearing more of. Do we like it? No, we don't like it. There's nothing about it that we like. But you have to play the game. You have to, it's here to stay. So now it's on offense. How do we protect it? By changing code words, by complementing them, so on and so forth. And then from the other side of the ball, how do we gain as much information from those copies as we can? So it's here to stay. We got to make it work and make the best of it.
Can you just give an estimate of, I guess, how much time a week that you spend on changing those codes and kind of going through dummy calls and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple guys we have 2 or 3 guys who are watching through the tape and checking everything, checking every word and on both sides of the ball, so on and so forth. And then they kind of give us a catalog of the words. And then we sit down with Philip and we decide, okay, which word, what do we need to do something about? You don't do something about every one every week. That would be too much to change. So you pick a couple key ones that you know are going to be in the game plan. And then you try to use those early in the game so that you kind of, if they're listening in on your stuff, you want to show them that, they've changed everything. So we can't trust what we're hearing. That's the goal. That's the game everybody's playing.